The Big 810 AM is local talk radio across Central Florida. It is the Ed Till Show, and we are really excited about our guest. The former governor of the state of Utah is here today on our program for the debate in Orlando tonight as candidate for the Republican nomination, Jon Huntsman. Thank you for joining us today, Governor.
Ed, how are you? It's such a pleasure to be on your program and here in Orlando today.
Well, you know what? I feel the same way, Governor. It is a thrilling time to be an American. It is a thrilling time for the Republican Party, and we're most interested in what you're going to say tonight for the folks in Orlando who are still struggling with unemployment, and we're struggling with cuts in services at every level, a decline in revenue. Where is the leadership at the federal level that you can provide that will help guide Central Florida and the country out of where we are?
Ed, everything is down right now. Every indicator, the market is down 350 points today. Everywhere you look, there's a sense of depression. And I've got to tell you, this is not an American place to be. I mean, this is unnatural for the most optimistic people in the world. We pull ourselves up by the bootstraps every time we encounter a challenge. We always have. And here we encounter significant challenges. And I've got to tell you that this is when leadership matters most. And the good people who are listening to this program, they need to take a look at those folks who are standing on that stage tonight, and they've got to say two things are going to be very important here. One, who can win? You just can't get somebody from a fringe of one party who can actually pull off a victory, because in order to win, guess what? We Republicans have to win some of the people that Obama won over last time. You just do the math. We've got to win over some people in the independent category who fled from conservative principles last time. We've got to win them back. Number two, we've got to have somebody who can lead. We've got to have somebody who will step out from behind that teleprompter and speak from the heart and soul about where this nation is going. Provide a little direction. Provide a little sense of comfort about where we are going and where we are going to land 5 and 10 years from now. And Ed, I'm here to tell you.
I hate to interrupt, but I want to watch our time. There are so many different areas. Briefly, would you summarize for Central Florida tax policy under President Huntsman?
Three things I'm going to drop off on the doorstep of Congress the day that I'm elected. Number one is a tax overhaul. If you want to know what I've done, go to our website, see what the Wall Street Journal had to say about it. I am asking on the personal income tax side to phase out all the deductions, all of the loopholes, all the cobwebs, just like I did as governor of the state of Utah. And I want to lower the rate, I want to broaden the base, and I want to simplify the tax code for everybody, leaving us with three rates. That would be 8, that would be 14, and that would be 23, based upon your income. On the corporate side, I want to phase out corporate welfare. I want to phase out subsidies because we simply can't afford it in this country anymore. And I want to recognize the reality that a lot of companies are not paying at a 35% level. They're paying somewhere well below because they can afford lobbyists and lawyers to do their bidding on Capitol Hill. And I'm saying let's recognize reality where we are today, drop that rate from 35% to 25%. You know what corporate America would do? All of the creative class and the entrepreneurs who are sitting on the sidelines wondering what their future holds, this would be the biggest boost, the biggest shot of energy this country has seen in a long time.
Well, Governor, let's go right to that point, because I do believe that tonight's debate, and here in this I-4 corridor, the debate that you participated in Tampa, that we are at a critical point in the primary process for the Republican Party in the challenge of 2012. And when I say perfect storm, not only are you with us today, and the debate tonight features the candidates, but our governor, Governor Scott, took a bold move, and today it has become news that he will slash out a government agency, a state agency that is squandering valuable tax dollars and not accomplishing its goal. Is that the direction we're finally going to move into? And could Florida be a place where it all begins, Governor?
Listen, we are deleveraging in this country. We're deleveraging as families. We're deleveraging as corporations. We're deleveraging as governments. There is no way to get around the reality that this economy has hit the wall. And governors, just as I as governor over the state of Utah, you've got to stand up and say this tax code doesn't work anymore. This regulatory environment has gummed up the system so that the free market isn't doing what the free market traditionally has done. This is when governors are going to stand up and say this old department or agency just isn't doing what the taxpayers, the people who fund all of these activities, just aren't getting a return on what we're putting into it. And, I applaud Governor Scott, anyone who's willing to stand up and take bold action like that. We're fundamentally entering a new period, which is going to be a combination, Ed, of both cuts and dealing with the reality of debt and spending, which we can get our arms around. There's no question about that. But just as importantly, we're entering a period where growth, and growth the old-fashioned way, which is earning your way forward and paying the bills just like every family and every business is required to do, is going to be a critically important part of our future. Our problem today is we're stuck in neutral as a country. We're not growing. We're not taking those steps forward.
Is that really is exactly the way it feels to so many people listening. And let me remind people, if you're just joining the show, it's the Big 810 AM, the Ed Tyll Show. Our guest is former Utah Governor, Republican candidate for the nomination for presidency, Jon Huntsman, on the line. And Governor, we had your wife on recently. Mary Kay was a delightful guest. What is the role of the first family upon election?
Well, I got to tell you, the greatest thing I've got going for me is I've got a terrific wife from Orlando, and you say, how are you going to do in Florida? I say we're going to do well in Florida because I'm going to cut Mary Kay loose, and she's going to work her magic around the state. We have a son-in-law from Tampa, Jeff Livingston, as well. But I've got to tell you, I do believe that a family can lead by example. A family can set the mark in terms of what it means to live a life of personal responsibility, what it means to live a life of giving back to communities, what it means to live a life of public service. I've got two boys who are beginning careers in the military. I'm very, very proud of these guys. They're both beginning careers in the Navy. And I say if they can do what they're doing, and if they can make a commitment to serve their country, then I certainly can stand up and do my part as well. So Mary Kay will bring a refreshing approach to dealing particularly with young people, just as she did in the state of Utah. She had a program that was an outreach program to kids who were falling through the cracks, whether it was drug addiction, whether it was eating disorders, whether it was teenage suicide, all the range of problems that kids in high school face. And she went into these schools with mentors, people who had been there and in trouble before. And she would put them on stage in these large auditoriums, and these folks would speak to their peers, and they would say, "We have been there. We've been on drugs. We have been there. We've had eating disorders. We've been there on the brink of suicide or having attempted it. Don't go there, and here are the reasons why." And you could hear a pin drop in those rooms.
Well, those are major family issues, and the Republican Party. The Republican Party that I hearken back to, and I think many people would like to see reemerge, is the party of Ronald Reagan, a party that emphasized family and the family unit and hard work from leadership, not just rhetoric. Governor, let me hopscotch with you, if I may. The current chief executive of the United States said that he was going to go in and handle the bickering in Congress. It's been bickering extraordinaire all year. Pick your moment. What could you do to stop the bickering and start getting work done in Washington?
People don't bicker when there's a vision. And I can tell you that with some sense of confidence and experience. As governor, we had a very, very significant and substantive 10-point plan, starting with historic tax reform, health care reform, which we pulled off without a mandate, and getting our state's economy to the number one position as a job creator in America. We were so busy doing things that the people of our state wanted done. We had Republicans, Democrats, we had all the stakeholders you have in any kind of congressional setting. But we had a vision. We had a direction. We knew where the state was going, and nobody was looking back. This country needs an articulation of a vision. Where is it that we want to be? Where is it that where are the aspirations of the American people, and what is the appropriate role of government in getting us there? Creating a foundation for growth, creating a foundation for opportunity, creating an environment that speaks to getting the impediments out of the way, localizing more decision-making. I mean, we've got so many things that we could do in this country that would fire the engines of growth that are so exciting and so much in need at this point in our nation's history. We just need a little bit of vision, and we need a little bit of leadership. And I'm talking about, someone who's willing to get out from behind the teleprompter and speak from their heart and soul about the goodness of this nation. We've got so many things going for us, Ed, and we forget about that. I, spent the last 2 years living in China, and I'd reflect on all of the attributes we have in this country. We have rule of law. We have stability. We have the longest surviving constitution in the world. We have private property rights, last I looked. We have the greatest universities and colleges anywhere in the world. We've got the most dynamic, innovative, and creative business class and creative class the world has ever known.